Hi, everybody. This is Nancy from Divine Guidance with Nancy Ann. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody is doing well and it's cooling off in some places where we've had this extreme heat. It's been a little wild with the heat. We're getting the power surges and stuff going on here in North Carolina and my part where we live, constantly on and off. So it's really hard to try and record your videos and, get them edited and stuff. But so I hope you're all doing well. Uh, this video today, it's kind of like an extension from the 5 stages of grieving, and I explained how that grieving, the pain, the suffering, and not releasing that anger and the pain and the disappointments and so forth, I became very, very sick. But I do want to go back and say that because my children didn't want to go to a morning counselor, a grieving counselor for children, and I explained what happened to me when I went to a widows group. I was the youngest one there, and that didn't work out for me, but I did give it a try. Then we started using like writing because my older daughter, she really didn't want to speak about it. She held it all inside, which really worried me, but she seemed to be doing good. They have gone back to school. But I did want to mention that I did use writing, and I was trying to teach my children to write down their feelings. Um, they never showed me if they did, but my youngest daughter, Nicole, hi, Nicole, I hope you're watching mommy. She was 7 years old. They were 7 and 9 during this passing of my husband, and the grieving, was excruciating pain, as I explained in the last video from June 12th. This video you'll be seeing July 12th. This video you'll be seeing on July 19th. So it'll follow from from the last video. But that angel that I said, I shared with you that came to my daughter Nicole before my husband's passing. Well, she came back to my daughter Nicole, our 7-year-old, and this time she had my husband with her, Nicole's, her daddy with her. And she explained to me everything that was done and said. So I thought, well, let's write this. So I said, you want to help mommy write this down, and we'll make a poem, and mommy will write it for you from your words. And she, seeing excitement during that time was like my main thing, like from my heart. I wanted to see my children smile again and not cry and be playful again. And she had this sparkle in her eye, and great idea, mommy. So I'm going to read you the poem that wound up coming out from Nicole's 7-year-old, uh, what she saw, the vision she saw of this beautiful lady angel in her room who brought her daddy to her. And we named it Where is My Daddy? That was Nicole picked that out. Where is my daddy? So here we go. Where is my daddy? I sit in my room so sad, you see, wondering where my daddy can be. I look to the ceiling, and what do I see? A beautiful angel looking at me. There she was, there he was, tall as can be. It is my daddy she brought to me. And there he was, happy, just sitting next to me. Daddy said, don't look so hard. I'm always right here in your heart. I'm never too far. I'm always near. So there is never, ever anything to fear. He told me that heaven was bright like the sun and that he sings with the angels and he has so much fun. I looked at his angel. She smiled at me. It was so nice to have such company. The glow in my room was bright as can be. My daddy was so very happy. Daddy reached over and gave me a hug, and then he quickly kissed my sweet little mug. He told me he loved me, but he just couldn't stay. He was needed in heaven to help the world pray. So now I know where my daddy shall be. He is up in heaven with the angels, you see. working for Jesus and watching over me. So, this was one method of starting to heal or trying to heal. And she actually, it was like a year later, 2 years later, they had a poetry contest. So she used that poem and it actually got into a poetry book. Um, I think she has it because I don't know if I have it, but anyway, we have it somewhere. So that was her poem from her, the angel coming into her room with her daddy. And I just thought it was so beautiful and it did help her, you know. Um, and then I had wrote a bunch of poems. I'm only going to share one with you today, but I had used poetry for healing too. And I wrote, I called it The Mystical Flight. For some forsaken reason, you had to go that night. The angels came from heaven to guide you to the light. There, Jesus and our mother stood by with open arms, just waiting to hold you, to walk you into heaven, to take your mystical flight. I could only sit here quietly, crying in the dark. Knowing you had to leave us, it tore me apart. But I knew you'd be okay, for it is God you must obey. Your journey was completed, your duty a job well done. You are needed back in heaven, for you are the Father's Son. Our hearts will one day mend, the memories will stay. Your love for us will continue in each and every day. And even though we can't see you, we feel you all the time. You're the sun upon our face. The warmth is your embrace. You're the breeze that gives us chills when we see the trees stand still. You're a shining light with Jesus. You're not that very far. A heartbeat away from us is really where you are. You've earned your wings, my loved one. You've reached eternity. So share your light with whom you might and give Jesus a kiss for me. So that was one of the poems that I wrote. Um, there was many that I was writing. Even one a friend of mine had turned it into a song for church and got the approval to do it. At that time, I couldn't be the one singing it, even though I had a beautiful voice. Um, I just couldn't do it. My soul was aching. My body, my heart was broken. My heart was broken, shattered into pieces. So, but that is something that I used to heal, and my youngest daughter, Nicole, was using to heal. And if Kristen ever wrote anything, she didn't share it. She's more of a child that keeps more inside, where Nicole's more like her mom. We express our feelings. So I was worried about Kristen, but I mean, she's doing good. She's got, she's married. She has two little girls. I was blessed with two granddaughters, so it's like having a do over because I had two daughters and now she has two daughters, and they are very similar to um, Nicole and Kristen. So it's amazing. It's a blessing. But the journey wasn't easy. So as I said in the last video, the 5 stages of grief, it's a roller coaster and it's a huge roller coaster. And as I mentioned about now, after years, 16 years of holding it all inside, not releasing and not letting go of the anger and the disappointments and the confusion, I finally got sick. Now, 2016, I had to leave. I had to start the Social Security process because I had to retire. It was like forced into retirement. But, however, God had a plan. So it needed me to, even though I suffered in a lot of pain, every movement I made. So even just moving my hands or my arms, just getting up to go use the bathroom. I mean, I was in excruciating pain, but I kept it to myself. I would sometimes tell my daughter, I don't know how I'm going to handle this. There was times where she had to help me get dressed, help me into the shower. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. And I remember laying there and just saying, all right, God, I give up, I completely give up and just take me home because I can't live like this. This is ridiculous. So I would do that many nights of suffering and just laying there and saying, I've had enough. Enough is enough. I've had enough. And I'm sure many of you have gotten to that point. But once I started to like release things, but not like thoroughly. Like I would just lay there and more or less wish myself to go back home, to die, to go back home, get rid of this body. And the more sicker I got, like the more pain I got. So a couple years go by. It's now, I'm going to go from 2016 to went through all that suffering, different doctors, different treatments, all that crazy stuff. Because just getting out of the house, trying to get dressed to get to a doctor's, and then sitting in the waiting area being called. I'm in excruciating pain from my head to my toes, the whole body. So wasn't happy, but I wasn't the type of person to take out my pain on somebody else. So I would just be more quiet to myself. And then comes the day when I get a whisper in my ear, and it's the Blessed Mother. She says, "My dear child, it's time to heal. It is time to heal now." So I said, "I don't know how to heal myself." And she says, "It's time to heal." So I go to sleep, and as I'm falling asleep, I'm thinking, if they know everything, right? Like we know they know everything, doesn't she understand? I know how to allow God in. I am a vessel of God's love and healing. I know how to lay my hands on you, but I don't know how to do it to me. I only knew how to do it to people, right? So I'm confused and I'm not hearing anything else, nor seeing, because I had, although my intuition was still really strong, because that's the way I was born, um, I wouldn't pay attention to signs that I knew were there because, I was still in that anger stage. So, to make a very long story short, this started happening constantly with the "it's time to heal, it's time to heal." And then I started seeing like things. I'd be on the phone playing a word game, and you know how they pop up those stupid commercials? I don't like those ads. They're so annoying. But anyway, the ad came up and it kept saying stuff about healing, right? And I was like, I know this isn't a coincidence, right? This is them trying to get to me, to wake me up again. So then one day I said, all right, let me see if there's a healer somewhere around here where I live. Maybe they can help me. So I do. I find this healer it was like a 45-minute drive, which I dreaded because, again, the pain. But I thought maybe I'll get some relief. The Blessed Mother keeps telling me it's time. The time is now. It's time to heal. I better listen, right? Because I don't want to be in this pain no more. So I go to this young man, and he does his thing. It was actually Reiki. Um, does his thing. And then when it was done, he says to me, you're a healer, right? Because he was an intuitive, and I guess he saw visions and stuff too. And I said, yeah, I do know that, but I don't know how to heal myself. He goes, no, the healing's within. You can heal yourself. He goes, let me show you. So he's like, every position that I went, you do to your own body. And he goes, just like you would do to somebody else. He goes, I was told during this that you were born a natural born healer. So you've already healed people, spiritually, physically, and so forth. He goes, right? So I said, yeah, some of them I found out, yeah, they were healed. They needed surgery, then they didn't. And stuff. Yeah, I said, I do know that. But I just didn't understand. And then I felt comfortable telling about the Blessed Mother whispering in my ear about the time is now. I must heal. And he goes, oh, that's what led you to me. I said, yes, because I don't know how to do it myself. So he showed me how I'm doing it to myself, just like I would do to you, scanning my body, um, and he had used a different word, and I didn't learn that too a couple years later, and I'll go into that in a second. So then I go there and I do feel better. I even said to him, I feel so much relief. Not 100%, but a good 50% relief, right? So I'm like, maybe I can do this without my walker. So then the following year, a year later, so now I'm practicing on, trying to heal myself, allowing myself to let go of the pain of Peter's death, my husband's death. And breathing and letting it out. And all these signs were coming to me from the angels, from the Blessed Mother, and even Jesus. Um, showing me the rays of light coming from his heart, the healing, like the powerful healing power of healing. And then there was this body, mind, and soul expo that was about an hour away from here. And I just felt this to go there. So my daughter's like, "Yeah, I'll go with you. Me and the girls will go take the ride with you. But are you going to be able to walk?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm being told that I'll be able to do it because the place is huge where they have it." And I was. Now, there's other signs coming around. I'm seeing the angel numbers and stuff. I saw a couple license plates, and actually they spelled out heal, or healer. Like I was seeing it all over, and I was like, okay, I get it. I'm trying. Um, so we go to this place, and all of a sudden, in my head, they show me the person that they want me to sit down with, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. And all I can say is the way they showed me her is that she looked like a fairy, like Tinkerbell. Like that's the only how I can explain it. So I said to my daughter, "Go around. I'll go this way because we're walking all over the place." And my daughter's like, "This one." I'm like, "No, no, no." And we're looking. So I explained it to my daughter the best I could, describe what they were showing me. Right, the angels were showing me. And all of a sudden, I'm getting like, "Nope, I'm just going home now. I'm done." I bought a couple crystals because I've always been drawn to crystals, and I can't find this person. So I was directed to go this way. So the tables were long ways, right? And then they were down this way, long ways. Then I mean, it was all around. It was big. And we had went everywhere. So I go in between the aisles of the tables going this way. I went in between and I stopped at this table. There was nobody there. And I picked out my phone to tell my daughter, I give up. We're going home. I don't know why they're showing me this person. And they're saying she's here. I can't find her. My daughter's going, "Mom, I can't find nobody with that description either." So as I'm texting her to tell her, just meet me at the door to go, this lady comes out of nowhere, sits down at that table where there was nobody there, and she looks up at me and she goes, "Oh, do you want a reading?" And I look over at the lady that said was talking to me. I look over and I was in shock because there was Tinkerbell. That's the only way I can explain her. She looked just like Tinkerbell, the blonde hair, beautiful, beautiful young lady, right? But even her clothes, the way what she was wearing, just would remind you of a fairy, a Tinkerbell. So I said, "Yeah, sure." So I sat down, and it was pretty neat. She said, "Oh, they're telling me to use angel and fairy cards." She goes, "I never had that happen to me before." She goes, "So I'm gonna do both." And I said, "Okay, that's fine." And I said, "Well, I know why they probably said that." I said, "Because I know my angels. And when I was a little girl, I saw a real fairy." And she goes, "Oh, okay. I understand that now." And then she does her card things and she says, "Oh, you were born a natural healer." She goes, "You're going to heal many." And I just looked at her. She goes, "Do you know you're a healer?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah, they're showing me you've done this in the past, but you stopped for a long time." And at that point, I had stopped for like 20 years. And so I just said yes. And then she goes, "Oh," she goes, "Mary's here with you. And she's telling me she's always with you." And I said, I don't know why this came out of my mouth, but I go, "Mary who?" Because I was thinking of my mother's aunt who had passed away. Her name was Mary. I was thinking, that's odd. Why would she be hanging with me? And she goes, "The Blessed Mother Mary." And I go, "Oh, yes, that makes sense. Yeah, I know she's always been with me." And she goes, "And you have a strong attachment to with Jesus." She goes, "You're very close with Jesus." And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "But you're not religious." And I said, "No." She goes, "You're so spiritual." She goes, "You're an old soul. You've been here so many times." She goes, "But they're telling me they want you to start. You already know your purpose and it needs to begin now. So they want you to continue healing yourself so that you can heal others. This is your purpose." She said, "You have many gifts." She goes, "Oh, you can do what I do." I said, "Well, I don't read cards, but if I do lay them out, I can see like visions. I can see things like a seer." And she said, "Yeah, I see that." And she says, "Well, they want you to do Reiki so that you'll regain your confidence, because they said you lost your confidence after the passing of your husband. That was, she nailed it. That was dead on correct. There's and they were telling her that she said you lost your confidence and you don't think that you have these gifts anymore. And she said, you, I see you denying them. I said, well, a few years after my husband died, I did. I told God, take back these gifts because I'm never using them again. Like a spoiled child. I was mad, um, and hurt and disappointed. All those things that you go through. And she said, well, this is the beginning of greater things that are going to happen to you that are coming. And she said, they're working with you. And she said that Archangel Raphael and Archangel Michael, and oh, there was another archangel. I can't remember right now who she said because I work with so many. Um, but there was three. Oh, I think it was Uriel. It was Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, and Archangel Uriel, and of course Mary and Jesus. They were all gathered around and working with me to help me completely heal my body because my purpose needed to be done now. What I was here to do. So, and then she said other stuff about this move and other stuff, but it's too long to go on about. But everything she said was really accurate, and everything did come to fruition. Everything did happen. A year after that is when my daughter had introduced me to YouTube because I said I don't even watch TV no more because I don't like commercials. I think they're ridiculous and annoying, right? So I just stopped watching TV. I couldn't stand in the middle of the show and then all of a sudden it goes commercial. No, I want to see what happens next, right? And I don't watch that many shows, so it was just so annoying. So she had told me, Ma, you can watch YouTube and you'll get movies on there too. And you can pay a couple dollars extra and there's no commercial. So I was like, oh, this is great. So I did it. I had my daughter show me how to download that app on my TV. And then I started watching YouTube. And I love it because there's no commercials. It's commercial free, except for when they do their paid advertising, but you could skip over that. So all of a sudden, I did my morning routine and my prayers and everything. And I put YouTube on. And this lady pops up. I'm like, who is she? That's weird because she wasn't in my things, like how you have your favorites. She wasn't there. I didn't know where she came from. So something told me to listen to her. So I was like, okay, let's see what she has to say. So I listened to her and I resonated with her very strongly, very deeply. So I was like, that's so weird. Never heard of this lady, and she pops up on my YouTube. That's so strange. And I resonated with her. So, I don't think much about it. And then I wanted to do my yoga exercise. So I watched it. I was impressed. I felt resonated with her, and there was something. There was some kind of connection. So then I think it was a couple days later. I'm on watching TV again. I put on YouTube. She pops up again. So I was like, wow. So then I hear from my angels that she is going to be my teacher. She has much to teach me, right? And something else with the to get my something to get me back, right? Can't remember those exact words. I have everything written down somewhere. I didn't pull it out for this video though. So I go, okay. So then I watch her video again. And in that video, it was weird. That's where I heard her talk about she's going to be teaching Reiki 1 on whatever date it was, right? So I was like, oh, that's weird. So then I thought, let me see, is this what they're talking about? Because a year ago, that lady said that they wanted me to do Reiki, right? So I look into it, I pray about it, discern, and I'm getting a yes that this is the teacher, this is the one. So I do it, and it was amazing. She speaks to like 120 angels, and Yeah, she brought me back to me, to my true self. Um, and I got through, healing myself, the joints, the arthritis, everything, everything's gone. And then I went all the way to the master's class. So I am considered a Reiki master. But the thing is I understood as I did each class why Mary and Jesus and my angels wanted me to learn this. I would say it wasn't so much about the Reiki because it's all the same light. The light comes from God. The healing white light comes from God, or if you want to call it universe, it's a universal light, which is God, right? So that all made sense to me. But stuff that I had done 20 years prior, when I lay my hands on people and I could feel the energy go through and go into that person's body. And however they were healed, that was between them and God. It had nothing, I was separate from it. I'm just a vessel, a conduit. And so it was either a spiritual healing or a physical healing like that, right? Or soul healing. So you have nothing to do with that because you per se aren't the healer. You were just like, let's go back to, I was told I was born a natural born healer, right? That just means it's not me that's healing you. It just means that I was born open to God's light, and his healing light will go through me, which it goes through your crown chakra, which I knew it went through my head, but I never knew it was called the crown chakra, right? So it goes through me, into my body, down my arms, into my hands and my fingertips, and then into you, right? So I always knew I was doing that, but I didn't have words to what I was doing. Now there was times where my hands would just scan the body, right? Well, there was a Reiki name for that. So I was learning all the names that went to stuff I had been doing 20 years ago for many years, but not knowing it. But there was a lady in my past, Paula. Hi, Paula Geibels. I hope I'm saying your last name right, but I knew her many, many years ago. I met her when I was a teenager. My mom was playing women's softball with her, right? And then I had ran into her a few years later, and I remember going to her back then, and she was doing she hashiatsu, something like that. I can't pronounce the word. Oh, I should have wrote it down. I apologize for that, everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. Um, but it was like these pressure points. Like she did these pressure points, and or maybe it was Reiki, but it was called something else. And maybe she'll, Paula, if you're listening, put it in the comments what that was with the pressure points, and then all these. But when she did it, these emotional tears, like I started sobbing, and like it was uncontrollable, like out of nowhere. So I was releasing pain from back then, right? Just before I met my husband stuff. So she was one of the first people to tell me that I was an empath, and I said, what is an empath? And when she explained it, I was like, oh yeah, that is me. I just didn't know the words. I had nobody to help me, you know, understand what I had and what I was doing. And she also told me that I was more than likely born a healer because I was telling her about my hands, especially when I prayed, my hands would get really warm, like hot. Let's put it this way, if I was, you know how you do the Lord's Prayer and you hold hands in church? People don't like putting their hands on my hands because they remove their hand because as soon as we started praying, my hands, they get hot. They want to heal. They want to heal you. So, God's light just flows through us. But yeah, so that was like those are the first times back then. But I never really knew how to do it, and I never realized how the impact of having that being an open vessel, that your voice, your eyes, like in Reiki they call it beaming. Well, I always knew there was light coming from my eyes beaming into the person. So it's like everything that I was learning from this lady, who I will share with you, if you ever feel like your calling is to be a healer, and to learn how to do it. Her name is Natalie Namaste, and you can reach her at natalienamaste.com. Wonderful teacher. She is truly an angel. I tell her all the time she's our earth angel, and was probably, an angel and came down as a human because she is such a spiritual, good person filled with so much love and light. It radiates out of her to you through the screen. I mean, you can feel it. So if you ever want to do that, please contact her. I'll write it in the description so you remember if you're interested in anything like that. Like I said, I did Reiki 1, 2, and then the masters, and it was beautiful. Opened me up more to who I truly am, and being a vessel for God my whole life. It really helped me understand things more clearly, and I was able to share. She's one of the reasons why I do these videos, because she felt my experiences through my lifetime needed to be shared with all of you. I was a little hesitant, but then I was getting the messages from my angels. Yes, yes, yes. Like I needed to do this, that it is going to help other people out there. So that's why it really helps when you like and subscribe, because the more subscribers, the more that algorithm that they have in YouTube will reach others. And I really like that to happen. So I really would feel grateful if you remember to, you know, click on that subscribe button and share it with somebody that you think might need to hear these things that have happened to me throughout my life. They're spiritual and mystical. And yeah, so it was in throughout my lifetime I was guided and guided and guided. And then, like Jesus went into the desert for 40 years or 40 days. I did almost 20 years of that myself, right? But I was in pain until they started speaking to me again. But it's not like they ever stopped. I ignored it. Um, so when I was ready, I listened, and that's why I'm here today. Um, Even Jesus would come to me and tell me, my dear child, there's no reason for this suffering. So I didn't listen though, because they know who we are. They know, I'm stubborn, I guess. I wasn't ready, but when I was ready, I did. I did it. I kind of like was like, all right, I hear you, but now I'm ready. I'm not doing it because you're ready. I'm doing it because I'm ready. Like, that stubbornness, like a child. Um, so here I am, and yes, I don't need a walker anymore. I can go to the store. Um, I can do things now. I still have other things that I'm working on to heal, like I have pancreatitis. So having all that anger for that many years and that negative energy inside, you have to take, it takes work getting it out, releasing it little by little, just releasing it and letting more light in. And as you do that, each thing in your body will get better. I'm not saying I'm a doctor. I'm not saying you don't need your medication. I'm not saying anything like that. It's doing the work to come back to who you truly are, your true essence, and allowing yourself to heal and believing and knowing that you have this power to heal yourself inside. Do we sometimes need a kickstart? Yeah, I did. I needed to know how to do it to myself. So, yes, sometimes we do need that kickstart. And that's why we are here as teachers, to teach you, about who you truly are, who we all truly are. And each different one of us, each different person that's teaching out there and speaking truth is here to help guide you on your journey. Nobody here is God's favorite. We are all God's favorite, and God wants the best for all of us. But we have to cleanse ourselves in the way of healing, letting go of old beliefs, letting go of the negative thoughts that the ego puts out there, um, letting go and do kind of like a training for yourself of like saying a mantra, like just like a prayer. that we say the Our Father and the Hail Mary all the time. Well, you need to do your own mantra for yourself within, saying positive like affirmations of, I am beautiful, I am godly, I am love, right? Putting all the positive back. And when the negative comes back and saying, giving you doubt about yourself and your gifts, tell it you're wrong. I have many gifts. God has given me many, many gifts, and I am loved so deeply. So, saying that stuff and learning how to get rid of that negative out of the head, out of the mind, keeping those thoughts positive with positive affirmations, just by saying, closing your eyes, going in prayer, put your hands in prayer mode, and make sure your thumbs are touching the middle of your chest where your heart is, right? And just say those affirmations and tell yourself, my body is healing. My body is healing. My body is healing. And then take 3 breaths in through your nose and count to three. Breathe in, one, two, three. Hold, one, two, three. Release, one, two, three. And do that 3 times. Then say it again. I am healed. My body is healing. I am healed. Or whatever mantra you need to say. And do that for like 10 minutes or 5 minutes, however long you can do it. And there's other, say other things, whatever you need, whatever comes into your heart and lets you know what you need. That's what you want, the word you want to say. I trust in God. I trust in the Holy Spirit. Um, I trust in God's healing. I trust in my gifts. All of that, those are prayers. They call them mantras, but you can call them prayers. I call them mantras and prayers. But yes, so you can do your prayers, and then with that, do yourself a little affirmation prayer, saying those words: I have abundance, I am gifted, I am loved. And just do that like for 21 days, and you're going to see such a big difference of all positive things coming into your life. Positive, positive, like all good things, things that you can't even imagine right now. But it works, it really happens. But I did want to just share that with you today, how the anger and the grief and the depressions and the acceptance, how it's a roller coaster for a long time. Some people might only have it for a year. Some people could be like me, 23 years, because I didn't start healing until 2023. Um, and now it's 20, so it's 3 years of going through the healing. And I still have to release some stuff that will come up, and I release it. I send everything to God's violet light. That flame burns it and turns it into love and light and puts it out in the universe as good. Um, I don't, I, well, I will say this. I've now learned how to deal with and live with my grief, because I do not believe, no matter what, that grief just leaves. You release the anger, you release the depression, you release the denial, and you release the bargaining. You stay with the acceptance and know that where they are is divine, right? You know they're with us, and they send us signs all the time. I know my husband's with us. I know when he goes to my daughters, and he's around my grandkids, I can feel him. I know his energy. They don't leave us. It's just us learning to accept. They are here with us, but in a different way, in a spiritual way. But they are physically there, not in the body, but in the spiritual realm. They are with us, and they walk with you daily, and they're guiding us. They're guiding you when you feel that push to do something that you want to do it. When you are pushed to step back or be away from somebody, listen, that is our loved ones, our angels, Jesus, Mary. They're protecting us, they're guiding us at all times. So once you get past that and accept that they're in spirit form and you know they're around you, you can bring more joy into your life, more peace, more happiness, because you've let go of all the um, bad energy that comes around our feelings when we're grieving. When you let go of all that negative and you accept, right? And you love again in your heart, you can feel your heart starting to heal. Your love for that person is never going away. It's always there. It's in your heart. It's part of your soul, right? They're connected to us. We're all connected. You can start to move forward and move on. And I'm personal, your personal testimony that if you're in the stage of the roller coaster, I promise you, you will get through it. Once you allow yourself to open up to the healing, everything starts to fall in place. And you will see a whole different change in how you feel. Your heart doesn't feel crushed and shattered into pieces anymore. It's like God's energy, His light comes in and He forms your heart back and makes it whole again. Okay, so that's the only way I can express it. Your soul doesn't ache no more. You've released it. So everything goes back working and functioning for the better, right? And it doesn't mean you don't love that person any less. I feel I love them even more because I got through it. They got me through it. They helped me through it. And I came out the other side, right? Like when Jesus came back after the being in the desert, he came back a different person, right? Well, that's how I feel after the grieving. I'm a different person than I was back then. So, is it a long journey grieving? Absolutely, 100%. But if you're in the midst of it now, please keep this recording and listen to it again because I'm here to help. You can comment, you can email me. I am here to help you. And I promise you, it might not feel that that pain will eventually fade into more love, but it will. It just takes time. So allow yourself to have as much time as you need to go through the grieving experiences, the roller coaster. Just allow it and you'll be okay. I promise you. I'm here. I'm still here. And I'm smiling and I'm loving again. And I love all of you. And I hope that this helped everything that I shared with you. And if you are grieving, find that thing. Like I found poetry. I found writing. My daughter found her poem, right, that we did together. Um, it does help. I'm not saying it takes away the grieving because it doesn't, but it helps. And there's other stuff that you'll figure out for you what helps you with a little bit peace of mind. Okay, everybody. So I hope this helps. I just want to say have a blessed week. I love you all. God bless you all. And I'll see you next week. And I'm not sure what we're going to talk about because I'm leaving that up to the angels and Mary and Jesus. I don't want to forget Jesus. Um, so namaste. God bless.